So before we do anything at Zuleta, I have to give you a little bit of a background, a history lesson on Zuleta. This hacienda was originally built in 1619 by the Jesuits. Then in 1898, this guy bought it, who was president of Ecuador. His name is Leonidas Plaza, and he's Fernando's great-grandfather. And then his son, Galo Plaza, Fernando's grandfather. He was the Ecuadorian ambassador to the United States. He was president of Ecuador from 1948 to 1952. Then after his presidency, he went back to Washington, and he was Secretary General of the Organization of American States. So this hacienda's continually been owned and operated by the Plaza family since 1898. The best thing I can relate them to, they're almost like the Kennedys of Ecuador, and this place, Hacienda Zuleta, was their country retreat. So think of Zuleta almost as the Kennedys had Kennebunkport and the Plaza family had Hacienda Zuleta. Fernando, where are we going?
We're going to the archaeological site. We're gonna have a lot of fun talking about history. I hope we see bears. There's bears. We can do whatever we want. There's no one.
So we just rode up the San Pedro Valley on the horses, and we're sitting atop an ancient Caranqui pyramid right now.
This pyramid that we're sitting on, it is from the 13th century. We have 129 burial mounds and 12 pyramids as the ones we are here. This pyramid was a result of a catastrophic event, the eruption of Quilotoa volcano. Almost 30 centimeters of ash landed in top of the agricultural land. People migrated to the north, and this is when they built this huge pyramid. I'm actually thinking how many pandemics these guys have passed, this land has passed. The Spanish came, smallpox, influenza, all these hit these people terribly. Today we have a pandemic. The pandemic, it is a catastrophic event for the world. And all of us are in this same feeling. No, we are just amazed of how things can change. Tourism is so important to us. Tourism has so many tentacles in here, and one of them is so important, and that's the financing of our projects. In the end of the valley is our Condor hut and the Condor aviary. We're trying to bring the Condor, give an opportunity to the Condor to survive. Our main focus here is education and reproduction, but we are surviving. We are here. This land has seen so many of us just pass by. So I think I'm extremely lucky for passing these new times, these hard times. Come over here. No, social distance. This is the essence of social distances. No? There's no one around.
Okay, so we're at the Condor Rescue and Rehabilitation Center. And a lot of times these condors are hidden like up in the shade. They're actually all out on their posts sunning themselves, which is pretty amazing. So the condors that are here in the enclosure at the moment that have been injured or captured elsewhere in Ecuador. So the idea is to rehabilitate the ones here that can be released back into the wild safely, and ones that are too injured to be released back in the wild, they're doing a captive breeding program. So for example, the two here on the right, they're hoping that these will actually copulate and reproduce. The one on the left actually has an egg at the moment that it's taken care of, so we're going to have to wait a few months until it hatches, and then hopefully with that will grow up and we'll be able to release back into the wild.
The bears are here, Clark.
Seriously?
I told you so.
Yeah, so we've just spotted some spectacled bears, like a mom and a cub, or two cubs or something, and my telephoto lens won't reach, but I have another thing in my bag of tricks. So these Andean spectacle bears, that's the only type of bear that exists in South America. You find them throughout the Andes, and they live exactly in this type of habitat. They're an endangered species. When I was living in Peru for like 10 years working as a guide, I only saw maybe 2 or 3 bears in the wild over a decade. But here at Zuleta, I feel like almost every trip I'm here, I manage to see bears. So these bears, they're not dangerous. They're very shy. The biologist here at Zuleta, his name's Jan. He's a French guy that's been living here for many years. He actually monitors these bears, so he has trap cameras on the trails all around Zuleta's land. And these bears are really easy to distinguish because they're called spectacle bears because of the fur pattern around their eye. And every bear has a very different fur pattern. Jan, the biologist here at Zuleta, he actually has a book in the Hacienda called The Bears of Zuleta. Now there's like 20 plus bears that are frequent around here that they constantly spot and are tracking. Some of them actually have GPS collars as well. They monitor the movements of the bears around the property for conservation efforts. So if you want to see spectacle bears, Zuleta is the place to come see them. So we just stopped on the side of the road here just to talk with a local Zuleta family. They're just sitting out here in the sun, cleaning some wheat that they just harvested. So they just shake it, let it fall, and the wind blows away the chaff. And the cutest little girl here with her pet rabbit. Man, big day at Zuleta. Big horseback ride, bears, condors, hanging out with local people, sifting grain. I had so much fun today and I had so many crazy experiences. Eating just incredibly delicious, fresh, farm to plate food. Why have I waited so long to do this? I think it's initially scary. It's like a leap of faith. And then as soon as you're in country, I mean, I've come into less people so far in Ecuador than I do daily when I'm at home in San Francisco. I'm so glad I came. Can't wait to jump into that bed.